Good evening and a very warm welcome to another episode of the pint-sized preview. Not too much in store this week, actually. It's been quite a quiet week at Wycombe Wanderers, but we have still got a few games to talk about, as well as we'll have a good old chat about the transfer window. Let's waste no time in bringing in our guests for this evening. Let's bring in Aaron first. Evening, mate.
Evening, mate. You all right?
I'm not so bad, buddy. How are you?
Yeah, all good.
All good. You got a drink there with you tonight?
I have, yeah, mixed up. Got a can of, I can't see it now. Can of vodka coke. There you go.
Oh, very nice. Good choice. And who have you got going on behind you?
Well, I thought after his goal and all the hype, we'd get Richard Conan. So Blooms is going to be blocked out a bit, but we got the main man in.
I was going to say, we've got a match made in heaven with a young DJ there behind me. And I seem to think he's making another appearance at some point. Let's bring in Kyle next. Evening, mate.
Hello, mate. How's it going?
How are we doing? All right?
Yeah, not bad, mate.
Oh, what have you got in your water bottle there?
This, sadly, is just water. I'm still well and truly on the wagon so far. 11-day strand. I'm absolutely fucking hating my life being this sober, but there we go. But anyway, were you honouring DJ Coney and offering up my own services to our own little legend above, which is wrong hand. God, which way to... We got Tom the drummer in the background for me, and another bloke in a baseball cap looking really sinister.
I was going to say, that's got to be photoshopped, isn't it, mate, on the left?
I was wondering. It feels like he's literally giving me the eye and staring me down. It's quite sinister.
Never mind. And let's bring in, last but not least, Wycombe DJ. Evening, mate.
Evening, lads. How's it going?
Hello, Jaden. How are we doing?
I'm doing very well, thank you. How are you, boys? You all right?
Yeah, not so bad.
So, DJ's actually decided he can't make it tonight, but he's actually decided to come downstairs in the basement and look over my shoulder whilst I'm on here tonight. So he will be with us, just not talking. So
he's going to come running down naked with that Ainsworth mask on.
He's just messaged on the group chat.
Let me have a look at this. There goes the intro about laughing.
I was going to say, we failed that before. You're all right. Have you got a drink there, Jaden?
I haven't, I'm afraid. I rushed downstairs quickly because I kind of forgot we was recording at 7:30. I was like, I need to see what's in the fridge, and nothing was in the fridge, sadly. So I'm all out. A sober night for me.
Never mind. That makes it 2-2 then, Alan. My spine again.
We've got a nice view of DJ there for your glass.
Right, that's got to be one of the most uncanny starts to an episode we've had so far. Let's jump straight into it then, and we'll kick off with Saturday's draw at Burton then. We all discussed last week that we should be going there and getting a positive result, really, more so a win. And now in a positive result in the sense that Wycombe went behind on a really poor pitch and managed to get something from the game.
Yeah, in the circumstances, a positive, and I think probably if we hadn't been on the run we've had, most people would kind of be more or less happy with that. I think the only reason maybe people will look at it as not the best result is because one win in 13-14. But yeah, overall, from a goal down to come back into it, pitch was shocking. We'll take that away from home. A point away from home is always good.
Mm-hmm. Jaden, is it a point gained or 2 points dropped, really, given Wycombe's dominance, especially in that second half?
Well, I mean, beforehand, I would have snapped your hand off for a point, really. Like we said, definitely it's a tough place to go, and it was going to be a tight game. They're a solid team, like defensively, hard to break down. And as soon as we went 1-0 down, I thought, oh, God, we ain't going to win this. We'd be lucky to draw it. But I think considering we were behind, it's maybe if we can look at a point gained, it should have been 3. I think everyone on the face of the earth will say it should have been 3 because we can't really fault any of the players. The effort was there. Just their goalkeeper had a very good game again. Crocombe. That's the second time he's haunted us this season. So I think it's definitely a point gained, but a performance that was worthy of 3.
Mm-hmm. And plenty of positives, Carl, as you've mentioned, one of which being the fact that we've come from behind to get a result, which we haven't done really at all under Bloomfield.
No, we haven't. If you look at the direction we've been going the last few games, and you can see that progression and that confidence coming back into the team now, which is just fantastic to see. And let's face it, they went 1-0 down completely against the run of play. You know, it's taken a thunder cunt of a strike to put them in front. I'm not going to really. You'd be really picking a hole to defend him for that goal. He's just hit it so well, hasn't he? And then the response from it. I have to be honest, I thought 1-0 down, I thought they'd shut up shop and we'd really struggle to get back into it, especially on that pitch. You know what I mean? But the way we grew back into it, this from folks was just fucking subliminal. It was just so good. And then there was only one team that was going to win it after that. And I don't know, you could probably argue, should we have made changes sooner? I don't think so. I think the team that we had out there at the time were running rings around them. And it took a world-class save from there just to keep that shot out from Wheeler towards the end, didn't he? Because, I mean, it was safe. But look, the direction we're going, the way we're playing at the moment, the confidence looks well and truly up again. And we've gone from looking like we can't score a goal to save our lives to looking like we could probably score 2 every game now.
And another game, Aaron, where we've gone back to basics again with a 4-4-2, and it's worked wonders for us.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, obviously, we've spoke about it a lot over the last few weeks. And I know Kyle in particular has called for it quite a bit of dropping the back five and going to back four. And it does seem to be doing the job. So hopefully we can kind of continue with that and keep picking up some points.
So, Jaden, is it a surprise how much joy Wickham had going forward? You know, not just based on our past performances, but also how compact and rigid Burton can be at the back. I mean, Wickham in that second half, plenty of chances to grab a winner, didn't they?
Yeah, it was a bit of a surprise because I thought we wouldn't. Burton, as soon as they went 1-0 up, they'd completely shut up shop and Wickham would have, next to nothing in terms of chances. And we had completely the opposite. It's encouraging signs. And obviously, Vokesy with a great finish. He's looked very good in the last 2 games. And we just look a completely different team in the 4-4-2, don't we? We look so much better going forward and much more rigid in defence. So it's working all over the pitch. I think Vokes is back to his best, obviously, as well. We got the new lad, Kone, who looks fantastic. Scored that good goal on Tuesday. He could easily come into side. Taylor's as well. He's playing well off of Vokes. They're forming quite a partnership together. I think, although Taylor doesn't score goals, he certainly has his effects on the play. It's nice to see that we've transformed our attack a little bit, considering we were struggling to score goals last few weeks. It's definitely encouraging, yeah.
I guess looking at Vokes' recent form then, Kyle, is it a case of Vokesy himself as an individual is coming into form, or was it Wickham doing something differently to play to his strengths, I guess?
I think, to be honest with you, mate, I think it's a combination of probably, I don't think it's one thing. I think it's just several different factors coming into play. Given his age, it's probably is going to take him longer to get fit. And if he is picking up an injury, picks up that hamstring injury, it probably just take you longer to recover from it fully. To come back in, it will take you a few games just to get your eye back in and get that match fitness back. I think it's probably that. I know some of the calls were, he's not the same. They've freaking written him off and usual bollocks from some of the minority. Fuck's sake, Tom. Yeah. Thanks, Tom. But yeah, I think the switch to a 4-4-2, if you're going to be long balls up to Vokes and you're giving someone to aim at, and then you've got someone with that pace like Taylor that can run onto the flick-ons from him, I think it's the contributing factors are probably between that fitness and the 4-4-2. It's just working some wonders, and more than anything else, it's probably just confidence in the team now.
I guess, Aaron, it's a good time to get into confidence as well, isn't it? The busy fixture schedule is sort of out of the way for now, but Wickham have come out of it in some really good form. Was it 1 defeat in 6 now? And for the second half of the season with a fully fit squad, you'd expect us now to really push on.
Yeah, you'd expect us to climb the table now, and I think people will have their opinions of the kind of the whatever it is, Bristol Street Motors thing, but getting through to 2 games from Wembley potentially, that's going to be confidence for some of the maybe more fringe players. And then, like we spoke about, votes kind of getting back in amongst the goals. They just look like they're enjoying it a bit more the last couple of games than perhaps you think back to like Orient. It looked a bit forced at times and a bit, lacking confidence. And now they just look like they're more enjoying playing together. And whether that is the formation or just a few things have started to click, I don't know, maybe a combination of both.
I just thought over that whole Christmas period, I thought we looked fucked. I don't know whether we've just.
And...
Do you know what I mean? It's sort of like expecting how I kind of play over that period after having 8 pints every night and stuffing my face with Ferrero Rochers. Do you know what I mean? It's just that whole Christmas period. We just look so lethargic all the time. There didn't seem to be any intensity to our play at all, and it was almost a bit like going through the motions, so to speak. But ever since we got past Orient and we got that point in the road, and I thought, well, it was just a very lackluster performance. To then go into what we did New Year's Day and where we are now, I mean, honestly, I don't know where it's come from, but I'm all for it.
I came out of both Orient and Exeter thinking that his position in the dugout was untenable. I thought it could not go on. And then fast forward, not even a week, just over from Orient, and the mood has completely changed. Both us sat here and just the fan base in general. I mean, it's Wickham Twitter, when it's in a positive place, it's a really, really good place to be, and sort of long may it continue, I guess. Yeah,
well, we're getting into, we're starting to climb. Admittedly not very quickly, but the sooner we can start moving away from that relegation zone. But let's be honest, we shouldn't be anywhere near that relegation zone at all. We're far, far too good a squad to be there. And then get ourselves into a nice, comfortable mid-table position. We're not going to get in the playoffs. It's just, forget it. It's not happening. And then just build again next season. We're gonna, it's going to take more. Changes are going to be needed end of the season. Obviously, Potts is going to be going back. Phillips is going to be going back. So there is going to have to still be some big signings and rebuilds to be done. JJ isn't getting any younger. There's probably a few players on that side that were Rainsworth era that I wouldn't be surprised at some point to see them move on. So for me, it's just get through the season and give Matty another chance to rebuild again. And, the rate we're going, hopefully get a day out at Wembley. That would be fantastic, wouldn't it?
I mean, I suppose let's go off on a slight tangent and then talk about the end of the season, I guess. If Wickham sort of, stay up comfortably, somewhere between the 12th to 16th range, which is looking likely, but we get the day out at Wembley, win or lose, does that constitute a successful season?
I think if you win it, I mean, probably does if you win it or not, but if you win it, win a trophy, you can't really argue with that.
But do you think, obviously now we can sit here and say it's a good season, but at the start of the season, especially, Rob Couey looking down on the signings we've made, would he have felt that a Football League trophy run and sort of staying up nowhere near top or bottom, is that a good season?
Does he know what the Football League trophy is?
I don't think any of us can keep up with it now, can we?
I mean, you've got to. I mean, why? For me, why would it not be a success? I mean, we've made already from this competition. So I mean, it's like 110,000 we've already won from our participation in this competition. Anyway, look, my feelings on it. I think it's a fucking abomination since they brought in Premier League teams. It's demeaned it. You can see that in the crowd numbers. And I don't go to the games, but for that reason, because it's just a dull fest. It's a training ground match a lot of the time. There's group stages when you're playing these Premier League under 21 teams, but yeah, we get a day out of Wembley. Oh yeah, fucking all for this tournament. Let's go.
I mean, let's talk about Tuesday then as well. We mentioned obviously the opponents being an under 21s team. It's important that we sort of respect that and don't get too carried away. But I'll come to you first, Jaden. Obviously, a real ray of sunshine in Richard Kone. Doesn't look like a player who's making his first professional start. He looks like he's been here a while.
Yeah, he really did. Honestly, I was very impressed.
Not DJ.
Do you want me to put on an Irish accent and talk about Kone?
We're 16 minutes in. We would be here in an hour still talking about Kone if DJ had his way.
I'll make it short and
Honestly, it's a
sweet.
gift that he's not here.
Just never mention Kone when he's on the show. So, Richard Kone. Basically, no. Where was I? I can't remember. What were we talking about? We were on about when Tuesday night, right? Yeah, okay.
Tuesday night, Richard Kone.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, no, I was very impressed with him. Obviously, he was. He definitely did not look like he was making his first ever professional start, and obviously, like after 30 seconds, you could tell that he had something about him when he spun his man and then put in a pretty accurate cross that Kane Vincent-Young probably should have scored. But yeah, it's a real confidence booster, not for just him, but for the club as well, knowing that they've signed him and he probably actually isn't that far off first team level, could probably still do a job just about in League One. Obviously, we'd have to see. But this team that we played against, West Ham under-21s, were undefeated in 16, I think, before we played them. So they're no pushovers. Like, we can't underestimate them. They're obviously a very, very well-drilled young football side, and they won the FA Youth Cup, I believe, loads of them as under-18s. So they're obviously a very good unit and got bright futures. So it's you know, you can take what you want from it. I think Kone getting his goal was massively important for him. It gives him a little bit of confidence. Good finish as well, may I add. I thought he'd lost the chance, but he sort of found his footing again and slotted it into the bottom corner. Something we haven't seen.
You know what? I was fucking screaming at him to square it.
Yeah,
I was like, "There's a tap in." I was like, "Just fucking square it!" And then he's like, gone back, cut back, and then slotted it in. And we're like, "Well, I'm a fucking tosser, aren't I?"
He was in the middle. Was it
the occasion getting to him a little bit? You know,
Yeah,
he's
Taylor in the middle,
he's
wasn't
never ever going to square that, is he?
No, Taylor probably would have missed it anyway. Sorry, I had to say that. Nothing against Taylor.
Just on Conan before we touch on other subjects, obviously he was touted as a really, really good finisher coming from non-league. But actually, Aaron, he showed that he's got plenty more about his game, just sort of in and around the box. You know, he was able to hold up the ball and bring other players in. He's not just a finisher; he can offer so much more.
Yeah, I think generally his kind of whole round game as a striker was pretty decent for a first game as well. I mean, let's be like we said, it's under-21s, but first professional game, he spins his man within a couple of minutes of the game. Scores a pretty well taken goal that, to be honest, like you said, I thought he fluffed it by that point. And yeah, I think he looked quite strong as well. He held up the ball well. He looks a decent signing, and hopefully a bit more time at the club and a bit more games, whether it's in that trophy or whether he gets a few games in the league. I think he'll turn out to be a decent signing.
But not just Richard Kone, Kyle. Another good performance from Declan Skur at the back, who looks increasingly like he's going to be the next player to come from the development team into the first team frame.
Yeah, Skur played really well. Had a fantastic game. It's just, you know, this is, I guess, the beauty of this competition. Despite how many times we kind of bemoan it and belittle it, it's a chance for kids like this to come up through the development team and get those minutes, much needed minutes them as well. And it'll do you. I mean, especially give the last 16 of a tie to come into something like that and play so well. It can only boost your confidence. Yeah, really, really pleased with him. Certainly looks a bright one for the future, but early days with development players. I don't like to try and get too carried away with one performance, because I've done that before when we brought in Young, and well, that didn't really pan out quite the way I wanted it to. But yeah, no, promising, very, very promising. Just touching on Kone, I'm going to throw this in there now. I think we should start him next game.
Would you start him next to Vokes instead of Taylor, or as part of a 3 up front, maybe?
I'll go with a 3 up front. I really would. I'll go like a 4-3-3, something like that. I honestly think that given Kone, I mean, look how confident he was. I know it was an under-21 tie, but that's still a massive step up from step 5 to a game like that. That's huge. Clearly, he's masquerading as he's not a step 5 player, is he? They said the terms of his visa said he couldn't play any higher because of that. So for me, given how unpredictable he is, it's not really like they can do much homework on him. So I would say throw him straight in. I'd have a go. I really would. Given how high his confidence is at the moment, I'd go for something like that. Back him, because I think he seems to me one of these players that we've backed him, given him that confidence to bring him in, and he's come out first game and delivered. You know, he looked like a player that was hungry and wanted it. And I think the more you give him, the more I think he'll thrive on it. Just not necessarily, but it's just the gut feeling that I have. He looks like a player that thrives on it.
Do you think that sort of echoes what Blooms has said this week, Aaron? You know, they've given him a long-term deal. You know, he said there's a little bit of developing left to do, but actually, this is a player who is, you know, very nearly ready for League One. So I guess what's the danger of throwing him in at the deep end while he's in form?
Yeah, I think the only danger, I guess, is if it's a bit of a shock compared to what the other day and knocks his confidence a bit. But I don't think from what we saw the other night, he looks like the kind of player that a bit of a rougher game or a more challenging game is going to really affect him. He seems like he'll have the confidence to take on anyone, whatever level we kind of chuck him in at. I think, like Kyle said, he doesn't look like a player that should have been playing at step 5. He looks like he should have been playing a lot higher than that for a fairly long time. And yeah, if he doesn't start, he's got to be in the squad. He's got to be on the bench and as an option. But yeah, could be worth free up front chucking him in.
Do you know what I mean? Like, given that he just loves to run at players and he's so good with his feet, I think traditional strikers in League One, you don't really tend to get that. It's more about, you know, you're getting balls into the box, it's finishing, that kind of thing. Yeah, whereas you're going to take someone that's like, well, I'm just going to run at you, I'm going to spin, and I'm going to cut back. And do you know what I mean? I think he's so tricky and unpredictable that they just won't know how to work him out. I mean, they might do. It might, you know, he might only get he might play 60 minutes or something and not play particularly well. But I just think that element of chaos, I'm all for it. I think we should let it go.
I mean, I guess that sort of touches on what we've said in the group chat, isn't it? We'd rather have someone like him who you don't know what to expect than play someone like Lyle Taylor, who is not going to give you as much effort, but maybe a little bit more quality on the ball. Is that a risk, do you think, Jaden, that Bloomfield may be willing to take with him?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, from that one performance we've had off of Tuesday night, I think he'd done more in about 30 minutes than Lyle had in about 3 months or whatever. So it's definitely one that Blooms will keep an eye on, whether he'll be ready to throw him in at the deep end, because obviously he looks high on confidence, but you never know. One poor game could knock him a little bit. So it's going to be interesting to see whether he does start or not. Personally, I would. I think he's ready. I think maybe if we had him, I agree with these guys, in a 3 with maybe Taylor, Vokes. I think he could form quite a good partnership with Vokes. So, because Vokes obviously the hold-up striker, and then Kone, he's very good with his feet, quick, strong, good finisher. So it'd be sort of like a Akinfenwa Cash Kit relationship. Yeah, it's certainly one Bloomfield will be keeping an eye on for sure.
Let's sort of cross over from the Bristol Street Motors into the transfer window then. And we can link the two quite nicely, because quite strong reports today that Wickham are looking at, I've got to get the name right, Gideon Kadua. I mean, there's no apparent and obvious reason to say that Wickham have scouted him from Tuesday night, Aaron. But watching him on Tuesday, a really tricky player who could offer a lot in the next 6 months if you bring him in.
Yeah, he looks like a different option up front, I guess you could say. We obviously, Kone coming in is a different option we've got, but again, he looks like another kind of option that's not maybe the plan A or B that we've kind of seen for the last few months. I've never heard of him or seen him until Tuesday night, I'll be honest. He looked right on Tuesday night. They won't have just scouted him on that. They'll have done the homework. They'll know more about him. I'm fairly confident in what Bloomfield and the staff will have looked at. They've done pretty good with recruitment so far. So if they think they're seizing him, then yeah, go for it.
I sincerely fucking hope they didn't scout him off the back of one game.
Who knows?
Is it just a coincidence then? Obviously, he scored on Tuesday and a really good performance. Is it just a coincidence, we think?
It's got to be, surely.
It has to be. Yeah, it has to be.
I mean,
It's definitely an area we need, though.
The West Ham fans are quite excited by him, and seeing him linked with us. Obviously, we have Freddie Potts at the moment. They're sort of quite excited to see the two of them link up with us. Does that, that's something to be excited about, isn't it, Jaden?
Yeah, it'd be something for West Ham fans to be excited about. I mean, obviously they've got a very talented group of young players in that under 21s, under 18s. So they'll be keeping a close eye on Wickham. I think he's probably he's a very good signing for us. I think maybe a winger / attacker, wherever. I don't really know what his positions are. Like Aaron, I hadn't heard of him until Tuesday night. So it's sort of a position we need to strengthen in. But it's nice to know that we sort of got that link with West Ham, where maybe in the future when Potts and this guy go back, we'll be able to get a few more West Ham players in the future. Obviously, Steve Potts is the youth team manager, so Freddie has a good reputation. Has good things to say about the club. He'll definitely be more likely to send out a few players to us on loan if he can, just because he knows it's a good environment for them to grow in. So I think, it's important that we keep the bond with West Ham for the future.
I mean, there's not been too much news really on incomings this month, Kyle, but obviously a big ex-Wickham name has popped up this week as being available in Fred Onyedinma. I think it'd be rude of us not to mention him, but a little bit a whisper, I'd say, and we've seen Bloom's pull in the summer. Would that be I guess too big? What am I trying to say? Are we dreaming too big, thinking we could get Fred, or is the club sort of in that position where that's a realistic target?
Us getting Fred. I mean, I think there's more chance of the Pope getting married than us signing Fred. It's just not going to happen, is it? I think given he's playing in the Championship, the wage demands I would have thought especially would be a stumbling block. I don't think that we'd be in a position to pay him that level of wage at all. Even if he'd be willing to take a wage cut. I mean, how much of a wage cut is he going to take? There's just no way I can possibly see it happening. If he's going to move anywhere, you'd be talking about maybe moving to, lower half again. I don't know, maybe top end of League One or something like that. But other than that, what reason have you got to go and other than the fact that we've got a connection with Wickham, you're going to go and play in a team that are in 16th in League One? I can't see it, mate, honestly. I
mean, let's, I guess, delve into the stuff that's actually happening then. A confirmed departure this afternoon. The Marnie Mellor has gone back to Rochdale on loan again. A weird one, Aaron, given his form there last season and sort of the Rochdale fans' opinion on him.
Yeah, I mean, I think I've seen one or two Rochdale fans that have gone something semi-positive in the kind of like, we'll give him another go, but most of them are like, why have we brought him back? He did nothing. It's a weird move. I don't think he's going to do a lot the second half season there. I'm not really sure he has a future with us, but you never know. He might be one of them players that seems just suddenly clicks and he kicks on. But yeah, at the moment, it's not looking that positive.
I mean, obviously, it's quite obvious, Jaden, that's a location factor in it. Obviously, he's from Manchester, grew up in the United Academy. How much do you think it's Rochdale doing, both us and him, a favour of sorts by giving him a place to play football for 6 months more than anything else?
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't see him having a future with Wickham, if I'm honest. He's gone out on loan to a few places. Obviously, didn't establish himself in the first team when he first came in, and then flopped in League Two twice. Didn't manage to score a single goal in 2 loan spells. So let's see what he does in the National League. If he goes there, bags, say, I don't know, 7-8 goals, maybe. Obviously, we don't know how long his contract's going to be. Maybe he's out in the summer. If he goes there, bags 7-8 goals, I could see Wickham maybe keeping him on. But he's never looked physical enough, tough enough when he's played at our level. He's you've got to have a bit about you, like strength-wise, to be a League One, League Two striker, especially with all these defenders that you come up against at this sort of level. And he just doesn't seem like he's got that at the minute. But obviously there must be. He's been at Man United since he was God knows how old, like 8, 9, I think it was. So there's got to be a player in there somewhere, because you're not at Man United for that long if you haven't got something about you. So it'd be interesting to see how he does on the loan spell. Obviously, I know he wasn't too popular with Rochdale fans, because apparently he was laughing when they got relegated or something. I don't know, but yeah, hopefully it works out for him. Seems like a good lad, and I'm sure he'll bag a few goals and maybe kick on a little bit. Hopefully.
I was going to say, I got told off tonight by not wishing him good luck. So I will finish that discussion by saying good luck to Manny. In the nicest way possible. I hope you score a goal this time, because that would be a successful loan move by his standards in recent years. Let's talk about Lyle Taylor then, Kyle. Another player who seems to be off, a short-term deal when he came in, has offered, well, Sorrel really. And, we were warned about an attitude problem, and I think we've seen it.
Yeah, I mean, we spoke about this earlier. If you're going to come and play for Wickham, I don't care how good you are. You can be an 8, 9, 10 player, but if you're going to put in like a 5, 6 for effort, then just fuck off. Honestly, I can't be doing with it. We went through all that shit for years with players that were, it was really bad. Players that were just there going through the motions. Can't be bothered with it. My mate at Charlton warned me about his attitude when they were in a relegation scrap, and he just refused to play because he wanted his move, couldn't be bothered. But he said, if he's motivated and he wants to play, then you've got some player in your hand. But 18 months out of the game, he's come here. I mean, was it really going to be a deal to the end of the season? I'm not entirely convinced it was. I think it might have been on maybe a pay-as-you-play contract, maybe with a view to helping him get some fitness to get a move to another club where he can probably go and get a whack of wages somewhere. Probably a league down. Someone like Wrexham will probably snap him up. But I think it was probably a short-term solution while we were absolutely riddled with injuries, and we didn't really have an awful lot of striking options at the time, did we, with Vokes being out? So, yeah, I mean, so long, farewell. Don't let the door hit your ass on the way out.
Does it make it more disappointing, Aaron, that we know what Lyle Taylor can do when he wants to play football, when he's on form? At this level, especially a really good striker, but we've just not seen anywhere near enough.
It does, yeah. But is he ever going to be that player again? We don't. After the length of time he's had out of the game, I guess we don't know at this point. It was maybe a bit of a risk taking him on 18 months out and then pretty much chucking him in the day after he signed. But yeah, if he can get back to his best somewhere else, then it'll be gutting it didn't work out here. But I don't know whether he will or not.
Let's touch on another player then. And again, this is sort of a whisper or rumour, but quite a strong one. Harry Boyes set to be recalled by Sheffield United, Jaden. A player who hasn't done anything wrong, really. I think just Wickham are looking at different options going forward, and we don't want to halt his development.
Yeah, I think potentially he doesn't really suit the system anymore. I mean, obviously we're looking good in the 4-back now. Boyes is definitely more of a wing-back by trait, so he's not really going to have the opportunity to develop going forward as well as defensively. And I think that's what Sheffield United would want for his sort of experience. Obviously, he's done that at Lincoln and Forest Green, and he did it a bit this season with Wickham. But yeah, nothing against the guy, honestly. I think for what it's worth, he was solid. He never really put a foot wrong at Wickham. He was just one of those players who every time he played, he'd give you a consistent 6, 7 out of 10. Fairly solid player. Could definitely see him ending up in League One again. But, sometimes this happens where players just don't fit the system anymore, don't fit what the manager wants. And I feel like Boyes has been the victim of that. But again, wish him luck. He's done well for Wickham. Can't fault him at all. And yeah, it's just a shame. Didn't really work out.
Mm-hmm. I guess adding to that, Kyle, a player who came in sort of very similar time to Vincent Young on the other side, and we assumed that new attacking wing back would revolutionise our play, and for whatever reason, it just hasn't happened at all like that, has it?
No. Who are we talking about again?
Harry Boyes and Kano.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, Boyes, I I neither dislike or like. I don't really have a strong opinion on him. I thought he had moments where he looked pretty good, decent. I'm not really sure if there was much of an end product for a wing back play with the balls that he was putting in at all. I thought his defending was probably better than his actual attacking overall. Maybe missed a trick just not playing him as a left back. But Kane Vincent-Young, again, I think he's been injured. I don't think we've seen the best of him yet. I have to be honest with you. I'm not. I know there's a lot of people that are jumping on saying, "Oh, he hasn't well at all," and I'm like, I don't think he's ever really got going. I think early in the season, I think he was still probably lacking fitness. I think with a run in the side, I think you'd probably see a different player, but I'm not convinced that he's a right back. I still think he's a winger, and I'd play him as an outright attacking winger.
I guess that's it for the transfer rumours. And unless I've missed anything glaringly obvious, I don't think there is in terms of incomings or sort of definite outgoings. So I guess we should move on to Saturday then. Aaron, a tricky one really to look ahead to, because in the reverse fixture, obviously Wickham, well, in the second half got battered, a 3-0 loss. And we all assumed at the time that Lincoln would be up there. For whatever reason, they're sort of dwelling in a similar position to us, not scoring many, but not conceding any either.
Yeah, I think they've had kind of a similar season to us to a point. Like you said, we've not conceded. We've not really lost a game like 3-4-0 apart from those kind of opening bets. We're not scoring many, a bit similar to them. I can't see it being the most entertaining game, taking that into account. I could see one of us nicking it, maybe 2-1, but it's not going to be I'll say that now, probably be like 5-5 or something. I've said that, but yeah, I think maybe a little bit surprising where they are after the start they had, especially against us. But it didn't take them long after that to kind of flatten out and be a kind of mid-table. They won't go down, but yeah, mid-table, average League One team, a bit like us.
I think it echoes what Aaron was saying, Jaden, that Lincoln were the first team to change managers this season. And normally when you change a manager that early on, it really spurs a team on. But I think, if anything, Lincoln has sort of gone backwards since the managerial switch.
Yeah, they have. I mean, I expected Lincoln to be, well, at least top 10. But they're sort of just mid-table again, where they have been the last few years. I think they're definitely a club with ambition that could push on and sort of be similar to us. So I know a lot of Lincoln fans are unhappy. On the Look Sport Media podcast the other day, the Lincoln fan was saying that they struggled to score goals. So it's...
No, is he gone?
Have we lost him? Is he still there?
It's frozen, I think.
We'll
I almost got down. I got hold of him.
It's not happy with that. I pulled the wires out.
Sorry. What a time for the internet to die.
Where were you, Jaden?
Lincoln not being able to score goals, I think I was there. Something like that. Yeah. So obviously I think they've recalled Freddie Draper, who's had a decent loan spell in League Two, so he'll be one to look out for. As for us, we're looking defensively sound, relatively, good going forward. So I think it's going to be a tight game. But yeah, Lincoln really one team that we should be on paper looking to beat, because they haven't kicked on under a new manager, and maybe they got their decision wrong, because they looked fairly decent when they beat us 3-0 at the start of the season. But then again, we looked shit at the start of the season. So it's a very different game to what it was 6 months ago.
Mm-hmm. And Kyle, another home game for Wickham after two very successful ones already this year, 2024. This is an opportunity again for Wickham to sort of really push on and start climbing.
Yeah, I think given it's another home game coming up after the back of the Rovers game and then the performance at Burton, you've really got to go into this game and go for it. I had a brief look at the betting for it, and I saw that we were odds on, and I went, "Ooh, I don't know, I don't like that at all." That always fills me with dread whenever I see Wickham odds on to beat a team. Yeah, look, you've got to be confident going into it, given where we are on the table, which could end up well and truly biting me on the arse at the end of the season. But I think we're in a false position. I genuinely believe that. I think we should really be a top half of the table team, given the squad that we've got. The teams that are in and around us, generally speaking, I think are there, and they're there on merit. I think that we've just somehow got ourselves into a muddle with that awful run of games that we had, probably just lacking injuries, confidence, formation, whatever it was. It was just a muddle. But I think Bloomfield's figured it out, and going into this game on the weekend, fucking it, you've got to be confident, surely, going into this, a home game. It's a chance to beat a team around us, maybe bump up a couple of places. I mean, it's so congested in that table at the moment. We're literally 6 points off of 10th place. But we're also 6 points off the relegation zone. So, I don't know. I'm confident, but I'm cautious.
I guess let's have a quick word about the team selection and Aaron. It's easy to expect not many changes, but I guess Richard Kone playing on Tuesday and playing that well gives Bloomfield a massive headache, definitely in that area of the pitch.
Yeah, good problem to have. I don't see many changes in the last league game, like you just said, apart from potentially that one and maybe something in the middle. Obviously, Scowen's still out injured, suspended. Do we continue with the same kind of thing? I think we probably do. And then, go for a free up front. If it doesn't work, worst case, 60 minutes, we take him off and chuck GMAC on and a bit more of an experienced head if that's the way the game's heading. Yeah, it's a nice problem to have that we're talking about issues with picking the strikers up front, feeling it's seen as not long ago we were kind of scraping the barrel a bit and going, shit, who have we got left to play? And a Lyle Taylor hasn't played for 18 months kind of thing, having the option of a striker who's just scoring his debut is a much better problem to have.
I don't think there's too much really to preview because I want to leave it to the written preview coming out this week. Loads of new contributors to the site, so I want to sort of leave most of the tasty bits to them. So let's come to you, Jaden, for A, your score prediction, and B, what do you expect from the game overall?
I expect a bit of a tight game, if I'm honest. I know they've had their issues scoring goals, like I've said, so I think they'll set up more to play for the point than they will for the win. Lincoln, going to be hard to break down, but I think I do hope Richard Coney's going to start, but Bloomfield loves his Dale Taylor, doesn't he? So I could see Vokes and Taylor starting again, possibly, and then just similar, sticking with a 4-4-2 like we did at Burton. Really, I could see us lining up with exactly the same team. I could be wrong, but my score prediction, I feel like we should be winning it. We're high on confidence. We got players in good form. Vokesy, Kone, obviously Potts, Leahy as well has been doing well recently. So I'm going to go 2-0 Wickham. I think Vokesy to score in the 36th minute and then Kone to wrap it up right at the end and celebrate in front of the terrace. It'd be beautiful.
Let's have your opinion, and Kyle, again on the game as a whole and a score prediction from you two.
Well, I said I'd love to see us go with 4-3-3. I really doubt we will. Given that Scowen's out, I think you'd be probably a bit fucking mental to go 4-3-3 at the moment. Formation's working, 4-4-2. What do I think? How do I think it's going to pan out? Same as Jaden. I think it will be a tight game. I think they're going to set up probably with a 5 at the back. Wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't even be surprised if they play something like a holding midfielder in front of them as that extra level of protection. It's just a case of probably us having the onus will be on us to break down. So I'd probably see something like, I think we'll concede. I just always feel like we'll concede a goal at the minute. It doesn't seem to matter how well we defend. The Burton game, they pulled out a worldie out of nowhere. So I think we'll win 3-1.
And last but not least, then Aaron, that leaves you for your thoughts on how the game will pan out and a score prediction too.
Yeah, echo what the other two guys have said. I don't see it being that open. I think, like we've all kind of touched on. They're not scoring many. We're not really conceding many at the moment. I think we'll win. I think, like, similar to Carl, I think we'll concede. I just don't have that much confidence in us making it a nice, easy afternoon. I think we'll win 2-1, I'm going to say.
I was going to say, I think that's 3 wins then. I think that's going to be the first time we've had 3 wins on the live show for months, hasn't it? Surely.
Yeah, it has to be.
I'm going to make it 4 out of 4 and go for a 2-1 Wickham win, as well as you, Aaron, because I think it's got to be a game we've got to go out and try and get the points rather than.
We've got to build on that last,
Jaden's the only one that thinks that we're not going to concede.
Yeah, I'm confident. Striek in form. He's going to do it.
A point. Striek is back to his best at the moment. So.
He is. I think Taft's looked very good as well. So
Taft's fantastic.
You described the Burton goal as Taft laying it on a plate to him on Saturday, didn't you, Joe?
That was Joe Lowe. I didn't realise. I couldn't see. I was just angry. I was like...
Never mind. I think that just about sums it up then. 47 minutes of nattering on again. Enjoyable as always. Thank you very much to Aaron, Jaden and Kyle for keeping me company this evening. Always enjoyable. Always a good laugh. We'll be back next Thursday to preview the Port Vale game. We'll have a chat about Saturday's game as well and anything else that happens over the next 7 days. Thank you very much for joining us. Have a good rest of the week and weekend, and we will see you very, very soon.